time, your gateway to the world. A.F.R. American Freedom Radio. Give it to them.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday. It is November 12th. Woohoo! 11/12/13. Another cool day here tonight. Hope you all had an amazing day. I thank you and welcome you for joining us here. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. This is the second Tuesday of the month, so our regular listeners know we are joined by the lovely and talented Shaman Avalon Sakti. She's joining us from across the pond in her magical little forest. And tonight we're going to be talking about, I think a pretty relevant topic, at least for myself and 98% of the people I know right now, restoring the lost connection. I know a lot of us have felt, things are kind of chaotic. We're feeling a little disconnected, maybe from ourselves, our spirit guides, maybe even feeling a deep longing that, something's missing or disconnected from our roots, our ancestors, etc. So we're going to be talking about that, what the connection is, where is it coming from, and most importantly, how we can heal it. So if you would like to join us in the text chat tonight, that's over at souljourneysradio.com. And if you have any questions or comments tonight, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. Shaman Avalon Sakti is a trained and experienced shaman. Her website is sacredserpent.net. There are a ton of excellent articles there about the shaman's world, underworld, middle world, journeying, power animals and plants, tree spirits, smudging, etc. And of course, her spiritual services, online tuition. She does soul retrievals and all sorts of different shamanic journeys for healing. So check it out. That's at sacredserpent.net. But it is so good to have you here tonight, Sakti. How are you doing?
Thank you, Christie. I'm very well, and as always, I'm very honored.
Honey, I hear you, but you sound really, really far away.
Okay.
Wondering.
Now, how is that? I'm very close to the microphone now.
A little bit better. Okay, let's see on the chat if they can hear you okay. And before we begin, because I want to make sure that everybody can hear everything you have to share with us tonight. So if that's good for them, it's good for me, because I could always turn my speakers up.
We just tried it just a minute ago, and it was perfect, wasn't it, Christie?
Yep. Actually, you're getting a little bit louder now. Okay. So
I'm staying super close to the microphone. It's almost touching my lips.
Okay, they said they can hear you now. All right, so we're good to go. Let's start again. How the heck are you doing, beautiful?
Well, it's been a very chaotic time the last 2 months, but I'm trying to stay on top of it, trying to be in the eye of the storm. I guess that's the only thing I can do.
Yeah,
I'm still there.
The storm is it's kind of global right now, wouldn't you agree? So. It's
Absolutely.
good that I don't feel alone.
I hear it from all sides, and I think part of it is that also when I get contacted by people, there's more and more desperate people, and the people are more desperate than they used to be. So people are really suffering all over the place.
We are, I'll tell you. I mean, last week was, another one of those things like, is there really a reason to get up?
I think
What's
we are the sickest
purpose?
Humanity, the most spiritually disconnected.
Yeah, I can see that. I've definitely felt that lack of connection more than once. And, when you talk about it, people always want to, blame it on, it's a solar flare, or, it's Mercury retrograde, or, it's, Venus in Capricorn, or whatever. Do you think there's any relevance to all of that?
Well, I do think astrological events can influence us, but I don't think that this disconnection is an astrological event, because this is something that is getting worse and worse, and it is constant. It isn't just something that this week everybody feels disconnected, next week everybody's feeling fine again. It's constant, and it's more people. Everybody's getting, well, not everybody, but when you listen around, you hear that people are getting more and more robotic, and they're losing touch with reality. They're living in a fake world that's been constructed for them, and they feeling. A lot of people say they feel disconnected. They feel dead inside. People also complaining that they have lost touch with their emotions. They can't feel any emotions anymore, or that they can't feel any joy anymore, and that things that used to give them joy seem to be totally empty for them now. A lot of people complaining that they are numb. They're just feeling nothing at all. So it's very sad, and many of the people who have told me these things were actually very young people.
Oh, okay.
So you can't say it was just the people in midlife crisis, but we're talking about people in their 20s.
Yeah.
Who don't feel anything anymore, who like emotionally dead. I mean, that's pretty serious.
Yeah. It's felt that way. I mean, for me, I guess I maybe feel some of the influences, and when Mercury went direct, I did feel a little bit of a relief, but I didn't feel disconnected the entire 6 weeks, so I can't just blame it on Mercury or anything, like that. But yeah, I've been noticing all around, and people are dying at like an alarming rate. Strokes, seizures, heart attacks, aneurysms. All my friends are dying. They're all moving. It seems like there's more chaos now than before.
I think so, and I think that a lot of the nefarious projects to get rid of people, the eugenics and genocide agendas, have been revved up.
Yeah.
And of course, it's accumulative. I mean, if you get a few poisons in your food and water for 5 years, it's bad. But once you've had them for 20 years, it's going to take a toll.
Definitely. Okay, well,
I'm hearing it too, Christie. I'm hearing about all these people dying, that almost every time you go and you talk to somebody, they will tell you that their friend, relative, and so on died of cancer.
Yeah, one of my good friends literally just died less than 2 weeks ago. I just went to the post office today and found out someone else is in the hospital with an aneurysm. And I mean, the list goes on. And I've been hearing that from many other people. So I don't know. Is that their ticket? Like, I'm done. I'm checking out of here. Or, I mean, what's going on with that, do you think?
It would be a good reason to check out, because how bad things are here on this planet. I used to think when I heard that somebody died, I would say, oh, so sorry, the poor guy. Now I think, lucky him, he's got a ticket out.
Exactly. He's got a ticket to ride. He's got a
not
ticket
that I'm suicidal.
to ride. Well, I am sometimes. I have no problem admitting it. It's like, man, this sucks. It's like, I'm just having a hard time really just trying to figure out, what are we doing here? I feel like we're in the hamster cage, spinning the wheel over and over. And like, we all know there's more to life than this. But when I feel that disconnection, I'm just like, all right, I'm spinning the wheel again. What's the point? Like, I don't want to do it. It's just boring, So let's kind of talk about some of the things people are going through, and maybe how we can restore our life and vitality and not get stuck into that, what the heck are we doing here? This sucks. Let me get off that rock. Why did you get cancer and have an aneurysm, you lucky one? I want it too.
You see, when you have lost your connection, then you feel lost, and you feel that you have no purpose, and there is a hopelessness and being fed up with it. And that's exactly what you've described. So once you restore your connection, you have a purpose, because when people are disconnected, they don't know why they're here, what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And that's where this pain is coming from. because they've forgotten who they are and what they're supposed to be doing here. So if you can restore the connection, you remember your purpose, who you are, and then you know what needs to be done. And you'll find your niche in this greater scheme to make this a better reality for all of us. But until you have restored your connection, then you're just at the mercy of what others tell you, and conspiracy theory number 1 says this and number 2 says that, and this famous person on TV tells you that, and that guru tells you this, and you get all confused because you don't know it for yourself. So you're looking on the outside, but you need to go inside, not looking outside.
Yeah.
So when it comes to our disconnection, first of all, what have we been disconnected from? I think actually a much better question would be, what have we not been disconnected from? Because we've been disconnected from almost everything that is good and wholesome. We've lost so much, and the sad thing is that we don't even know what we've lost, because the young generations now, they haven't even experienced certain things that your generation and mine, Christie, at least have experienced a little bit of. And again, we are already the watered down version of, let's say, our great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers.
Yes.
And so I personally, the more I think about what's happening to us, what's happening to humanity, is that we are being intentionally engineered in a direction that becomes constantly less humane, more and more inhumane, and robotized, even transhuman, you could say. And it started off long, long ago. One of the first things we were disconnected from was the connection to our ancestors.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
And we had a show about the ancestors before, so if some of the listeners are interested, they can listen to that archived show.
Yep. In fact, I'll put the link to that show in the text chat. So.
Excellent. And so what happened is, when people were connected to their ancestors, they understood their sense of duty to society, and they understood their heritage and their true history, because they've heard it from their ancestors, the living ancestors and the dead ancestors. All the knowledge that our ancestors before us had, it's still there. It's in the blood. It's in cellular memory. It's inside of you. It's just not active right now. But when you reconnect with your ancestors, you can activate that, and then you will remember what your ancestors knew. And then you understand what you're here to do and what the problem is, because I believe we're fighting a very ancient evil, and there have been several rounds of it, and we've never completely defeated it. It's just, sometimes it backed off a little and then it came back, and right now I think this is the final round.
Yeah.
And our ancestors have fought this before, and they knew about this evil, but then they destroyed so many libraries, rewrote our history, so that we don't understand anymore what's really going on, and now everything is the other way around. There are things that we believe are evil, which are actually good for us, and other things which are very bad, and people who are very bad, but they seem to be also shining and good to many people. And when you reconnect with your ancestors, get into a practice of actually doing some ancestral rituals to connect with your ancestors, and they can guide you. They can come to you in your dreams. They can protect you, and they can put little clues and hints on your path to guide you in the right direction.
That's
So
what I
these are
need to
allies.
remember. When I get all in the disconnection state, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want a distraction. What can I do? Where can I go? What do I do? Turn on a TV? Do I start drinking? Do I go try to find some, I don't know, drug dealer or even pharmacist, same thing, or anything? But yeah, when you finally surrender and go within, then, you get another glimpse or another taste of that lost connection. I think that's awesome. You pointed out it is in our cellular memory. It's something that we haven't really lost. We just kind of forgot for a minute.
And the greatness of our people and the greatness of our past is within us. And that can be resurrected anytime. We just need to remember it. Mm-hmm. And we can be helped to remember it when we reconnect with the ancestors. This can also be done through, for example, if you learn the particular folk dances of your ancestors, your ancestral language, if you read poetry from your particular ancestry, because that expresses the group soul of an ethnic group. And by connecting with that, you will understand how they were thinking, and a lot of things opened up. Definitely did for me. So these are all good things. Keep some pictures of your ancestors around in your house. You can make a little ancestral shrine if you're inclined to do that. I find it very good. And I talk to my ancestors all the time. I feel that my grandma, who is dead, I don't think she's earthbound. I helped her. But I know that if I really want to send her a good thought wherever she is in a faraway dimension, I can send it to her, and I speak to her all the time in my mind, telling her how much I appreciated everything she did for us.
Yeah. Oh, honey, I hear the music, but have a couple questions on the chat. So hang on, everyone. We will be right back to answer those after this short break. Shaman Avalon Sakti here on SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
You're listening to AmericanFreedomRadio.com, the network who perseveres in delivering intelligent debate, constructive dialogue with true independence. The freedom to broadcast the truth is not free at all. So what is American Freedom Radio worth to you? The empowering information with fun, honest and pure integrity behind it provides an example to follow, friendships to flourish, with the moral altruism that pulls no punches. The hosts sacrifice and show remarkable discipline in their duty to deliver quality radio and service to the community with strength, wisdom and loyalty. The founders of AFR wish to thank you personally for sharing your views and insights to make the best radio and alternative media. Now it's time for you to give something back and play a vital role in the future of America. Be as generous with us as we've been with you. Click on the donate banner at AmericanFreedomRadio.com or volunteer by emailing AmericanFreedomRadio@ymail.com. Vaccine, psychotropic drugs and artillery batteries not included.
All right, welcome back, and thanks again for joining us here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We are discussing restoring the lost connection that some of us might be feeling here lately with Shaman Avalon Sakti. Her website is sacredserpent.net. And you left off sharing with us some of the reasons we might be feeling disconnected, and like the ancestors that we forget about, and with all of the distractions and such. But you were also discussing how it's like this across the board. It's not just me or just two of the listeners, or we're all kind of going through it. Let me ask you this, though. Somebody on the chat asked, do you believe that the world is becoming less enlightened these days?
And that is an excellent question. And you can never just generalize things and say everybody's getting less enlightened. There are certainly some individuals who are getting more enlightened. enlightened, but as a whole, I would say that is true. We are getting less enlightened because when you're looking at this generation, the latest generation, the children are more disconnected. They don't even know vegetables anymore. Some don't know what's a carrot or a broccoli. People don't know how to sew on a button, and they're getting more and more misled into these doctrines that we are being taught with the brainwash education in the compulsory schools now, and homeschooling is being outlawed in many countries. So, and also I think there were some tests of school tests that from 1900, early 1900 something, and these tests that at that time 8-year-old children could answer, now the adults can't answer. So
yeah, no.
ask yourself, is that a sign that we're getting more enlightened, or does that mean we're getting dumber? I would say that to me that means we're getting dumber.
Yeah, it's like people don't understand. There must be a reason. Public education, the educators, whatever, those in control, all want us to know or think we know the same things, the same information. And I mean, it's just, we're homogenous little clones. Nowadays, there is so much more than what we learn in school, and it's so funny to hear people that know how the government or whatever lies about everything else, but they're still like, oh, go to school, get an education. It's like, why? So I can repeat the exact same lies you know and not know anything beyond that, box of so-called information that I'm going to hold so tightly onto. I mean, like, why? What good does it do anybody anyways?
Yeah, I have a feeling it's a bit like training monkeys, to ride on a bicycle and...
Yeah, good job. You did it. Yay, yippee. Here's a beer now.
Take a banana. Shut up.
Oh, man. It's funny.
Yeah, so, I would like to say we're all getting more and more enlightened, and day after tomorrow, the golden age will start. I'd really like to tell you this, but I don't believe it. Yeah. I think it's up to us. If we want to make a change, we have to put some real blood, sweat, and tears in, or there won't be a change for the better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're relying on public education or information in the news for your education, you're probably one of the less enlightened. But funny how it works, because when I was in that paradigm, I thought I knew everything. I memorized perfectly everything they taught me. It's like, oh, I know everything. There's nothing else. And then you hear something like what we're talking about. Oh, no way, that can't be. My professor didn't tell me that. My pastor didn't tell me that. My politician didn't tell me that. It must not be. You're crazy. Burn her. So,
did you really believe that? I mean, I never fell into this. I don't know. I always thought there's more to learn, and I was always very curious. I never thought I had it all.
Yeah, well, the whole curiosity thing, at least for me growing up, I was not allowed to ask questions. I would literally get, locked in a box or other places and, be, so I learned just, you got to go along to get along. I don't want to get beat anymore, so I waited till, my 30s before I'm like, all right, this sucks. I'm exploding. I'm going to start asking questions now. It's so sad how that works, though. I mean, people to this day are just so afraid to do anything outside the normal box.
It's peer pressure, and to liberate your mind, you have to have the courage to have hostility thrown your way, because it definitely will come. And, as long as it's only words and not knives that people throw at you,
yeah.
You can just shrug it off, It may be hurtful to you, but come on, the truth is more important than a pleasant lie.
Definitely. And it might hurt for a minute, and then you spend a few days in bed, cry over it, and absorb and assimilate the information and come out a little bit wiser, hopefully.
I don't spend days in bed crying anymore these days.
I do. I'm proud of my days in bed. Thank you very much. Oh, goodness.
Well, you were mentioning earlier on, Christie, that, when you're getting into the dark moods, then you're trying to watch TV and distract yourself and so on. And that is, of course, just making it worse, because you're getting more disconnected when you're in all this electromagnetic soup with all these electromagnetic waves going around your head until your little brain cells get fried. It's much better to connect to nature. And actually, my method has always been, since I was a child, when things got really bad and I felt in despair, I walk out of the house and I go out in nature, sit with a tree. I've been doing that since I was really small, not because I read a book on shamanism or something. It's just like a feeling that I can't stand it in the house now. I need to get some fresh air and go out. And I find that once you're walking in nature, in real nature, not just in an urban area with the occasional tree along the sidewalk.
Yeah, no, totally. It works for me. I go out to the garden, get my hands in the soil, my bare feet, and it totally helps. But yeah, that disconnection thing. I actually don't have TV, by the way. It was just one of those things I'm thinking, I gotta do something, get Netflix on the computer so I can absorb more electromagnetic waves and feel even more disconnected. And but it is what we do. It is what we do as a species. We look for the distractions.
Yeah,
right?
We learned numbing out. Numbing out is what we learned, and there's various ways of numbing out. You can do it with drugs, you can do it with alcohol, you can numb out with sex, you can numb out with computer games, knock yourself out with whatever. It's all kind of, or chocolate, or eating like a pound of ice cream. These are different ways that people have from disconnecting from their emotions, which is also part of the problem. Yeah. But I think a large part is that we are completely disconnected from our natural environment. The earth is so healing. Even if you sit on the earth or lie on the earth, like whole length of your body, if it's not too cold out there or too muddy.
Yeah, only 17.
Then it's very, very healing. And or walking barefoot on the earth. But we've been told that we should be constantly wearing shoes. People wearing shoes inside their house, which I could never understand. I find it terribly unhygienic. And I know people who are afraid of grass. I knew people who were afraid of grass. They could never walk over grass even with the shoes on.
Yeah. I literally know a woman, she was so proud of this big house she bought, 5 acres, just absolutely gorgeous, her yard and everything. And she's like talking about the house. I'm like, well, what are you going to do with that? Do you have any fruit trees or berry bushes? Are you going to put a garden? She's like, oh, no. Well, what do you mean no? Well, I'm terrified to go out in the grass. I just started, I'm like, really? I thought she was joking. No, serious. She explained that her fear of going outside has to do with snakes. And I'm like, well, have you ever been bit by a snake? No. Okay. So you're going to let that fear, something that you've never been touched by in your entire 60 years, keep you from going out and being healed and walking barefoot or even walking with shoes in your own beautiful yard in the country? Like, what? Her entire life is completely dictated by that one fear, which really has no basis. I don't know. Do you know anyone that's been bit by a snake? I don't.
I actually knew somebody, but...
They probably deserved it.
Actually, I think I've heard that before, that if you get bitten by a snake, you must have done something bad before, but, I can't say it for sure. But one thing I would say is, if it's her karma to die of snake bite, the snake can make it in her bedroom too. It can crawl into the house.
Exactly. So meanwhile, she's eating cheeseburgers and Diet Coke and popping her pills and hiding in her house when she's in this beautiful place in the country. That's so funny.
I've traipsed around in the bushes in Africa.
I do it. I walk in the forest here barefoot under a new moon and don't even think about it. I'll go climb trees, in the water, in the lake, through the forest, barefoot. I don't care. Everyone else around me is like, oh, you're going to get eaten by a water moccasin or this and that. And you know what? I never once have stepped on something that could hurt me. Not once.
I like my boots when I'm exploring rough terrain. I must say that. But I had a cobra jump over my path before, Christie, and it was like a little bit of a surprise. But it didn't keep me inside the house either.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we go out in nature. Again, reconnect with nature. And of course, these Hollywood movies always want to make us believe that nature is so dangerous.
Oh,
you know,
she's gonna
every
get
animal
us.
in nature got nothing better to do than go after you and wants to eat you and nothing else, you know.
The sun's
that
gonna get
wolf-
you. The water's
that
gonna
wolf
get
has
you.
so many deers to eat in the woods, but no, it doesn't want to eat the deer. It just want to eat you when it sees.
Yeah, the wolf that doesn't even exist in your state's gonna come get you. The raccoon's gonna get you. The snakes, they're all gonna get you. Isn't that crazy how that works? We're totally afraid of nature. But when it comes to, you know, what the men in white coats say, oh, that rules. Let's just do that. We're not even going to think about it. We're not going to question it. It's that grass we have to be afraid of.
You know, I think it's all part of this Agenda 21 driving everybody into the cities, you know,
Yeah.
make them afraid, very afraid of this terrible thing called nature.
Yeah, and those crazy people that like nature, they must be witches.
Probably, but you know, the word witch means wise one, so
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, speaking of
So-
nature, Shakti, I don't know if you want to talk about this quickly before we go to break. Somebody asked if there is an explanation why some people feel a connection to a specific animal.
I think it's being kindred in spirit. So the power animal page on my website will tell you a bit more, because you find that you share traits with your power animal.
Yeah,
And
so
that's
it
why
could be
some people-
power animal or animal totem. Could even be your animal guide.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why, you know, some people, very, very basic, but you find that some people get along very well with dogs, but not so good with cats. They just don't get it. And other people great with the cats and not so good with dogs, because you just have a natural affinity for certain animals, and they are similar to you in nature. So, yeah, it's a good thing. Any animal you have a connection with, whatever it is always a good thing. And it tells a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I believe any animal we see, you know, is a messenger, and they're actually there to show us something, especially if there's something like totally out of the ordinary. You know, if you're not used to having, he mentioned red-tailed hawks. If you have never seen any hawks where you live, and then all of a sudden a red-tailed hawk lands on your fence pole, you know, and gets your attention, there's a message. So that might be good practice for us when we're feeling that disconnection, to just take a moment of silence and ask them, what are you here to share with me? What can I learn from you?
Exactly. And I go by animal omens too, and I go by like what the animal is and what it did, if it had unusual behavior, and also if it's crossing the road, whether it goes from the left to the right or from the right to the left, and things like this. I get very accurate messages because I've been doing this for quite a few years, that I observe the animal omens.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to just say on the, connecting to our natural environment, the things that disconnect us from it is, besides the obvious, the city living and constantly being indoors, which you don't have to. You can go out and spend as much time in nature as you can, considering your circumstances. And honestly, I think we should all be moving out from the cities and back to the countryside, because that's where you can be more self-sustained than in the cities, where you're totally dependent on the system. And if the system collapses, what will you do? There's no food in those cities if there's no deliveries to the supermarkets.
Definitely.
And you want to also look at your
I'm so
clothing.
sorry, honey. It's that time. So hold that
Right?
right there. We
Yeah.
left off on clothing and nature. Stay tuned. We'll see you on the other side.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Yo, what's up? Check this out.
The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Welcome back, and thanks again for joining us here tonight. Shaman Avalon Sakti, our special guest, this beautiful and freezing Tuesday. We're discussing restoring the lost connection and some of the connections we may be lacking at sometimes. You left off sharing about our disconnection to nature, and then you started to get into our clothing. So please continue, Shakti.
Yeah, in the old times, people would wear natural materials like linen and hemp and so on, or wool. And these are all, very good materials because they allow the electromagnetic vibrations of the earth to connect with your body's own vibration. But the synthetic clothing works like an insulation, and it doesn't let anything through.
Yeah.
When you're looking, for example, at what the Vedas, with the ancient science of yoga, they're talking about when you do yoga, what kind of materials you should be sitting on, like antelope fur is permitted, or something made of wool. But they have very particular what meditation seat, what materials. Why is that? Because you want to be absorbing the earth vibrations. So if you're sitting on your polyester acrylic blanket, you're not connecting with the earth. So I think it's really important that we get away from the synthetics, and it's getting more and more difficult, at least here in Europe, to actually get cotton shirts.
Oh yeah, everywhere. You can't even go buy cotton thread in stores anymore to make your own with. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. I've heard that as well, and that because I like to crochet, that you can't get these yarns in cotton anymore. It's all artificial now.
And if you do get some, it's ridiculous because it'll cost you like $150 just to make one shirt. If you're gonna get like real cotton or hemp or something like that, it's crazy.
Yeah, it goes on like this. I'm gonna spin the fur of my cats and make my own socks from it.
Yeah, you got enough cats there to do that.
Probably, yes.
That's a great idea. And all the hair I'm saving for the garden, I'll just start making clothes with that. Weave my hair. Woohoo!
I tell you, I'm going to resist this. I'm not going to wear this kind of plastic clothing. It's disgusting. And the same as with, I like my boots, and they of course have rubber soles. But when you think in the old times what people were wearing, more like moccasin style things, there were actually leather soles on these shoes. It's still a natural material that lets the earth vibrations through. And now everything is just artificial. Artificial fibers, everything is artificial. So I think it's important that we try to resist the artificial things and insist in the shops on getting good materials. If enough people are asking for it and they say, hey, we don't want these shirts, I want to have a real cotton shirt, the shops are going to try to get it. They will try to look for a supplier and get the things in. And this is still a power that we have.
That's true. Absolutely. Put your money in what you believe in. I mean, there's no point in like sitting and complaining about whatever it is that we complain about if we're still spending the money to buy it, right? So, trade with locals, purchase things from locals, or, even if you have to support a company 5,000 miles away that's producing, quality, why not? And that's how they're going to have to change if they want our business. Mm-hmm.
You can go to the farmer's market, or if there are farmers nearby and they have sheep, and maybe you can get wool. I think we have to go back to some of the ancient arts like spinning by hand if necessary.
Yes.
I've been doing it. I know how to do weaving. I can weave something.
Yeah.
It would be, not very fine weave, but
Yeah.
it will be serviceable.
That's right.
And yeah, the old ways in general, we need to go back to the old ways. We don't have to throw overboard all our modern things, hopefully not. But if we let this go any further, this tyranny, it will come to the point that we lose everything. And then not only will we have to go back to the old ways before we had all this science and technologies, but on top of that, we'll be so dumb that we don't know the basic things anymore, like how to plant or animal husbandry or how to weave or to sew. The very basic things that our ancestors all knew, we have lost them. And I think it's good that everybody should learn one little craft or real life skill that would be useful if things go badly. And even if you do it only as a hobby now, should things go badly, then maybe it'll become a way of bartering with others what you can do.
Yeah,
you can make pottery or some wood crafts or whatever. And if you do natural things, for example, if you do pottery and you molding this clay with your hands, it is so relaxing. And then you're in touch with something real, not in this artificially created thing where you're hanging on your cell phone and pushing little buttons and staring at your computer screen, spoiling your eyesight and frying your brain with these electromagnetic waves.
I swear, cell phones are the devil. I mean, it is so hard to have a real life conversation with anyone anymore because they're always staring in their phone. And for example, like 3 nights ago, I made dinner for some of my friends, a couple that are visiting and one other person that lives nearby. And during this, I smeared guacamole all over my face. We just thought it was fun. And my friend took a couple pictures, but literally the person sitting across from me, in front of me, a whole 10 feet away, had no idea that we were having fun with the guacamole until he saw the photo on Facebook because he was looking down on his phone on Facebook the whole time. He's like, what? When did that happen? I'm like, right in front of your face while you were watching your Facebook. So, yeah, I don't know. Put him down. Have some real connection, real contact with humans, animals, plants, air, sunshine, whatever. I mean, seriously, he's right in front of me and had to find out that I had guacamole on my face from Facebook like 10 minutes after it happened.
I mean, it would be better just go to see your grandfather or grandmother if they're still alive and ask them how things were when they were growing up and how their life was and things they've experienced, the war and so on. Then to sit in front of this TV and watch Hollywood movies, which are totally crazy fabrications. Talk to some real people about real history.
Yeah.
That is better. Or play with your dog or train your dog or go out in nature, get a herbal book and then go out in nature, try to identify these flowers and herbs and trees.
Definitely.
Learn about herbal healing while you still can. I think these books will be taken off the market bit by bit. It's already happening now. And, swim in the ocean and just feel how wonderful that is rather than going to the artificial swimming pool with all the chlorine in it. I always wondered when I went on holiday, which wasn't very often, I haven't for years now, and there's this tiny swimming pool and there is 100 tourists in the tiny swimming pool.
And there's a lake like 500 feet away. They're all afraid of the lake, though.
The actual ocean, and it's warm and it's like going in nice and shallow, not like a drop and then it's 200 meters deep or something. And nobody's going in that ocean and everybody's in that swimming pool crowded together.
Isn't that
it's
funny?
Just like,
more chlorine and pee, baby. Woohoo!
I didn't think of that, but you're probably right.
That's funny. So true. So true. Ah, goodness. So what do we do about this? I mean, obviously, we're disconnected from the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom. We're all feeling the pressure of living in the rat race and the rat cage, specifically, spinning around in that circle. What can we do for those of us who realize that we don't like this disconnection. We need something more.
We have to get back in touch with the rhythms of nature, with nature itself, with the natural world around us, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom. I mean, whether you go and learn horse riding and spend some time with the horses, or go into the woods exploring, or go on a nice long hike in nature, is so much better than doing all these artificial activities that people have now. And the other thing is, don't live in the head all the time. Get in touch with your feelings as well. But the most important thing is, in my opinion, you cannot start changing the world by trying to tell other people, hey, maybe Shakti said we should be getting in touch with nature. You do it yourself, for yourself. And look at your life, everything that is artificial. Ask yourself, how did my grandma do this? How did my grandfather do this? How did they live? And that gives you a good idea how they were living. In the old times, everything was family-based, and the families stuck together. I think it's very important that we go back to family value, and then we don't allow ourselves to be divided.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Wow, that came in quick. Hang on, honey. We got to take a short break, but very well said. We will be back top of the second hour here, souljourneysradio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules. No rules. No taboo topics. No taboo topics. No fear of doom. No fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, the sun is shining, the sky is blue, it's Mr. Blue Sky, woohoo! Welcome back, top of the second hour here tonight, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We are talking with Shaman Avalon Sakti. She is a trained and experienced shaman. She can help you with soul retrievals, past life journeys, and all sorts of other healing issues. Check out her website, sacredserpent.net, and while you're there, a lot of this stuff we're talking about here tonight, she's put up some amazing articles and blogs, information about all of it and more. That's sacredserpent.net. And Shakti, better give out the number in case anyone wants to call. That's 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And if you'd like to join us on the text chat, that's over at souljourneysradio.com. Shakti, we're in a discussion on the text chat here in regards to connection and such. I think a really beautiful question came up that prompted the discussion about connectedness. But he asks, can we talk about human touch? Is it important? Hugs, solid handshakes, etc. We're getting mixed messages. Have to be vigilant about touching, not offending, but I find people, even guys, appreciate human contact, even a good hug. What do you think about that? Is that kind of important for us? Restoring our lost connections, interacting not only with nature, animals, plants, air, sunshine, etc., but also people, real human contact?
Well, obviously, a human being needs human contact. I mean, even animals get sick. I heard that baby monkeys actually die if they don't get stroked and held, even if you feed them and give them everything else. And for example, I believe that children should be breastfed by their mothers and not bottle fed. This is all disconnecting. And hugs, of course, and expressions of warmth and friendship and human caring are very important. Personally, I'm not a hugger. I like to only connect physically with people that I'm very, very close with. So I don't hug much. And it's true also that you have to be careful about what energies you pick up. So let's put it that way. If you feel comfortable with somebody, why not? Embrace between two men, that is like a comradeship and friendship, I think is totally okay. It's just that so many people have strange motivations and that you don't know what's going on.
I mean, some do, but if you have that creepy feeling, right? The ones that, like, you give them a hug and they're like, ooh, baby, let's go to bed. You just walk away from them.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to be hugged by strangers. Very clearly not. Thanks.
That's funny. Because, most of Europe, I mean, don't they give people kisses on each cheeks? And, here they think it's weird when we reach out our hand for a handshake. They're like, oh, no. Or my South American friends, they're like, kisses all the way, which I always thought was weird. Oh, my God, you're going to kiss a stranger? But I think it's beautiful.
I run like hell. I run like hell when they start with that.
Aw, it's just so sweet, I think, just to show, hi, I'm open and I appreciate this connection. And I don't know. I think we definitely need more human contact.
Yeah, I'm not keen on body fluids from other people that I don't particularly like or know.
Yeah, well, hopefully they're not, like, licking your face or peeing on you when you first meet, but...
Remember that when I was a child, we had some French acquaintances, and there was kissing left, kissing right on the cheek, and I was very uncomfortable with it. It was about my puberty time, I think. And maybe that's what made it worse. And I was like, oh, please, not this again.
Well, yeah, because we're supposed to be afraid of strangers, right? We're not only supposed to be afraid of the wolves and the sun and the beach and the forest. We're supposed to be afraid of other people because, of course, they're all perverts and they're all going to rape us and murder us and chop our limbs off and eat them for dinner. I mean, but that's ridiculous, really. How... I don't know. I just think it's silly. All of these fears. We're afraid of people. And you know what? I kind of am sometimes too. We've all been jaded and traumatized.
I don't really worry about that, somebody may be bad because my intuition is pretty good. So the truth is I sometimes pick up hitchhikers.
Yeah, I do too. Sometimes.
I do, because I know how bad it is if you're standing by the side of the road and people say, you pick up men, and yeah, why not? Because if it's bad, I'll know it.
Yeah, that does, because, you'll know, you're in touch. I've never been hurt at a truck stop or picking up a hitchhiker or any of that. In fact, when I really think about it, the only people that have ever hurt me, like physically or raped or anything like that, are people that I knew and trusted. I have never once has a stranger jumped out of the bush to get me. Never once have I shook a stranger's hand or hugged them and then all of a sudden they were out to get me. It's just, these are just, I think, unbased fears, really, to keep us disconnected.
Well, I had strangers making overtures and getting physical. Yep, I did. But that was in public places. Not people that I trusted and let in. Yeah, it was strange sometimes.
Yeah.
That is why I'm a little bit careful, because my energy is very high. So if I'm physically connecting with people and even shaking their hands, they sometimes get a little electric jolt, Christie. And then because they're not used to these kind of energies, they interpret it in the only terms they know, and it's very much based chakra.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's why I'm
well, you got to
very,
pay
very
attention to that.
Energy.
Yeah, of course.
I'm careful with my energy because my personal experience has taught me this, that I know with whom I'm safe, whom I can trust in my friends. And other people, if I have handshaking, never been my thing. I'm more like the Asian people. I like the namaste. But it used to be a way of sealing a deal with a handshake. If you and then you would honor your word. And that was a very beautiful thing. Unfortunately, honor and the value of one's word are things that don't seem to be worth very much anymore in our world.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so I think we've pretty much covered all of the aspects of disconnection we may be experiencing here.
Besides the emotions, and I think that is a very important one.
Definitely.
Because we are told not to express certain emotions, and the emotions are being labeled into the good and socially acceptable ones, like
and the rest
joy
are
and happiness you can express.
Yeah.
That's right. And you're mentally ill if you're feeling grief, even if your loved ones died. And then if you have grief, you need immediate medication.
Yeah, or even too much joy, though. Like a little joy is okay, but if you laugh like me, you need to be locked up.
Bipolar, probably. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm freaking, I don't know, octopolar.
Critical thinking is not popular either, especially if you're critical of, those who made themselves tyrants over us. Then you call, what is it called? You're an oddball. Then you have oppositional
defiance disorder.
Yes, I love the stuff they come up with in their little twisted brains.
Yes.
It's almost funny if it wasn't that sad, and because if people feel really uncomfortable expressing their emotions, even when they're alone, they think it's wrong to feel sad. And then there comes the new age brainwash as well, that you be in a bad vibration when you're sad, but hey, if you need to cry and release this energy, crying is actually a stress release. So it's a natural healing mechanism.
Yeah,
so
we have to feel all of the emotions.
If it comes naturally and you need to cry, in certain situations it may not be great in public, but sometimes yes and sometimes no, you decide. But it goes so far that I've talked to people who cannot even cry. They've been unable to. For 20 years they couldn't squeeze one tear out, even they wanted. And that's pretty sad. I think that's an illness, not a mental illness, but it's an emotional illness.
Yeah, because all of that,
shows how disconnected we are.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a cellular memory holds on to those things. Well, guess what? It holds on to everything we suppress as well. So,
absolutely.
Think about it. How is that working out for you? That's why we have more violence, school shootings, more drug use, more unhealthy people today than ever. But we're so advanced. We have all the answers. We got a pill for everything. Okay, maybe that's not working.
It's definitely not working because people are miserable. When you ask, most people are miserable. They just don't want to admit it. But if you get to talk with them a little bit more privately, they're miserable, they don't like their lives. And they wish that, I've heard some people say they wish they could go back to how things were that many years ago. Of course, we can't do that, but we can only try to create a better future by learning from the mistakes we've made and not to repeat them. And creating something better means we need the courage to step out of this paradigm, which I don't think is serving any of us besides the few who are in control
of this paradigm. Yeah.
Exactly, and this is a very small minority, and the rest of humanity is basically on the back seat and screaming, help, help, don't take me to hell. But
yeah, and then who are they begging for help from? The same people that are suppressing them. So really, how bad do you guys want it? It's up to you.
Yeah, I think we need to do something. And that's also, we've been taught passivity, just to sit, wait for a savior, a better day, the golden age, somebody else doing something.
Yeah. It's up to us, honeys. It's up to us, boys and girls.
But you know how it feels when you're not feeling good emotionally sometimes, and then if you do something like even some good work in the garden and with a wheelbarrow and so on, or go for a jog, or swim, or do some hard physical work, and afterwards you feel better, you feel cleansed.
Yes.
Because you've been active and you've actually done something. And so we're just sitting around passively, and then we're worrying, and the mind goes on hyperdrive until our brain fries.
Yeah.
And I really think it's important to do more practical things, to do things with the body also, not only always being in the head. Be connected to our emotions, let them out where we feel it's okay, and trust our intuition again is also really important, because we've been told that intuition and fantasy and imagination is all basically worthless stuff.
Yeah.
We should be intellectuals, be reasonable, basically robots.
Yeah.
You know, a robot cannot understand emotion.
Attack of the Clones.
It can calculate things and be quite intellectual, but it can't understand emotion or humor.
Yeah.
No, it can maybe play you a digital song, but it'll never understand music. And I think music is very important for healing, and we got all this fake music now that is digital with all these subliminals. I think it's better to just play an instrument yourself, play a flute or anything, or a guitar, whatever you feel like it. And even if you're not very good at it, you find that a little bit of actually playing music yourself is much better than listening to it for hours.
Definitely. Yeah, very healing. Okay. Well, honey, so what do we do about this? Let's say we've had it. We want to start creating the new paradigm. We're done with this crap. We're done. We want to restore our lost connection. Where do we begin?
Establish a connection to your ancestors. Number one, try to live as natural as possible. Refuse to go along with things that are convenient, but disconnect you even more. Like, I have a cell phone, but it's hardly ever on, Christie. I switch it on every 3 days to check whether there's a text message, and I switch.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah.
And I mean, some things are unavoidable. I need this laptop, and unfortunately I have to have internet, which is not good. But there are other things I will not compromise on, that I just never do. Try to wear natural clothing where you can. It's not always completely possible. Somebody asked what I was wearing. To answer your question, cotton bandana and tracksuit, inner lining cotton. The outer one is artificial.
All right. Well, hey, Newfoundland is happy. He knows what you're wearing. All right. Oh,
yep.
Goodness.
Colors are red and black today.
Red and black. All right. Well, I'm blue all over. Woohoo. Not that anyone cares, but I got Eeyore pants.
And
Black
I
tank.
think it's also important. So you're right. Okay, to how do we restore it?
Yes.
You know, because the good things are disappearing, like our cotton shirts. And for example, I'd like to have some berries in the good old-fashioned cardboard packaging that we used to have, or we had these similar to egg cartons where we used to have berries in when I was a child. Now it all comes in plastic, and the berries now are on bubble pack. I mean, my hair stands up when I see that stuff. So go to the supermarket and tell them, we don't want our berries in plastic. I want to have the berries in something natural.
Yeah.
And I don't want my fruit juice in plastic. I want you to stock fruit juices that are in a glass bottle that I can recycle. And it's up to us. If enough of us go, and that will make a difference, and then these things will be available, and we have better choices for our health. And same with the clothing. Tell them what you want and don't buy this stuff. Always go for the most natural version you can get under the circumstances.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, honey, hold that right there. I hear the music. So we have to take a short break, but I know, again, already it's flying by. Stay tuned, everyone. We will be back with Shaman Avalon Sakti here on SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Welcome to the world's meeting place. American
It's practically narcotic.
Freedom
Oh, yes, I like very much.
Radio.
They're an American institution.
American Freedom Radio.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight with Shaman Avalon Sakti here on souljourneysradio.com. We are discussing some of the lost connections we may be experiencing, and more importantly, how to restore it. So Sakti, our website is sacredserpent.net, and yeah, here we go. We left off talking about some of the things that we can be doing. You said reconnect with our ancestors, learning to trust our intuition. What else can we be doing?
Reconnect with the earth, go barefoot more often, spend time in nature, eat the foods that are grown in the country where you're living. Because if we're eating foods that are grown far away, then we're getting different kind of earth vibrations. Of course, I'm not only eating things grown here, but I try to not have too many imported things, because I come to understand that this makes a difference in our energy field. So if you're eating things from China and you're in the USA, this is not going to do you that much good.
Yeah.
So
the more local, the better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, if it's organic, it will be even better for you.
And seasonal.
Yep, and seasonal. That's right, because the things out of season are confusing the body.
Yeah.
And then try to follow the rhythms of nature, which is there's a time for sunrise and sunset. Normally, people were sleeping at night and awake in the day. So now we have people staying in bed till 4 in the afternoon and then staying up in the night till it's almost early morning.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, sometimes it can't be avoided because some people have to work shift like nurses. Then, of course, you can't avoid it. But for those who can avoid it, try to live with the natural rhythms of the day and the seasons and so on. Or in winter time, obviously you have to heat your house if you're in a cold place, but you don't have to heat it up to 30 degrees Celsius. So that you can run around in winter in your house almost like in a bikini. Same as if you're in a hot region. I've been in places that were very hot, and most of the time I didn't use an air conditioning because I find that the aircon is very bad for health actually. So it's better to have a fan and to shower a bit more often and wear very loose cotton clothing. And get used to the heat. And if you do have to use the aircon, then don't set it on quite that cold, because then you're coming from a freezing indoors to a cooking outside. And of course you get sick like this. And these are all things like to be more connected to nature. I also think sitting on the floor more often or on the ground is more connected than always sitting on a chair far away from the earth. Sleeping on natural materials or as natural as you can. Not wearing too many clothing, because sometimes we are like swaddled like Eskimos. I couldn't believe it. I've seen. I'm running around in a t-shirt and the other people are wearing a winter coat, and I'm thinking, what's wrong there?
Yeah.
So that pampering oneself, I don't think is good. I think that makes us softer and weaker all the time. and more disconnected, because hey, if one day you have an electric failure and you cannot heat up to that, making your house like super hot inside, and people feel like almost like dying just one day without that electrical heating. And then go for, if your body is not well, then go for natural things, natural forms of therapy. And food should be always the first remedy. So if you're sick, then you have to look at, is there something wrong with my diet? And then
eat your medicine.
Try to detox. That's right, detox as much as you can. And then if that doesn't help, then there are herbs, there's homeopathy. There's so many natural ways of healing the body rather than popping chemical pills in. And I haven't taken things from doctors for over 20 years.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Pills do not heal. Mother Nature does, period.
Yeah, and people say, oh, maybe you should go and see the doctor for this and that. I said, what for? I already know what the diagnosis will be and what they're going to prescribe. It's like so repetitive that it doesn't take much intelligence to figure it out. And most of the time it's antibiotics and painkillers and steroids, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And then...
Oh, are you there?
And then, just, do things by hand rather than electrically. Nowadays people... Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
I said do things by hand rather than everything with a machine and electrically. I've heard people say that, oh, I need a bread baking machine. Well, if I bake bread, I do it with my own hands. I don't need a machine for that. What for?
Exactly. I know. There's a machine for everything. That's funny. People can't even boil their own rice anymore. They need to have a rice cooker. Wasn't that what your pot was for?
And I knew a man, he showed me that he had a little device that was for fixing a button that had come off. I said, oh, show me. There was a little plastic spring inside that went through the fabric and held the button in place, and the next time you wash it in the washing machine, that button is loose. Somebody pulls on the button, even a little bit, it'll come off. And, I have a sewing machine. I use it sometimes. I know how to sew. But I can sew by hand as well if there's no machine. And I can mend things by hand. And I know women who don't know how to thread a needle and stitch one single straight seam. They don't know how to put two pieces of cloth together like a little rectangle. Impossible. And I was trying to teach them this when I was teaching magic, and we were making little spell pouches. You think they could sew those herbs in the pouch? No way.
Yeah.
And don't think that we smoked some herbs first, and that's why they couldn't sew.
Oh, wow.
They were totally sober, and they couldn't do 5 stitches, these women. And I was sitting there, and I was staring in horror, and they were all younger than I. And they didn't know how to stitch at all. I mean, these are life skills.
Yeah.
These are real life skills. I think everybody should know it. A man should also know how to stitch on a button. I mean, you can't be that stupid that you can't do that anymore. People should know the basics of how to plant things, as well. Now people don't even know where seeds are coming. Some don't know where seeds are coming from. I had a friend who didn't know that apple seeds come out from an apple.
Yeah. That's great.
And sometimes when I hear these things, you could do a candid camera with the facial expressions I make when the people say these things to me. There would be like absolute horror with the open mouth. It's like, you can't be.
You've got to be joking.
That, Are you kidding me? Exactly.
That's great. Okay, so reconnect with, basic life skills, the earth, our emotions, our ancestors, our family.
Yeah, and be in the body, It's better to feel the pain than to numb it out with painkillers, because pain motivates you to change something.
That's true.
So if you have a back pain, maybe you have to do some yoga stretches or get a better mattress, start doing some exercise or drop some weight rather than putting in endless painkillers. Feel the coldness, feel the rain, I like sometimes walking in the rain, and I don't mind if I get soaking wet, and guess what? I've never been sick from it.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say, oh my God, if you get wet, then you will get sick. I don't see how that is related, because if my immune system is good, then it can handle that easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I go outside barefoot every day, even in the winter.
And I never go out with an umbrella, Christie. I have one, but I just...
Like, why? The rain feels good. I don't get sick for going out barefoot or for getting rained on or for, Again, reconnect, people. Mother Nature is not going to hurt you.
Yeah, and obviously, if you've been a real softie, you don't want to go into a hardcore toughening up program, because the shock to the system could be a little bit too much. So you want to do it gradually.
Yeah, that's true.
And just don't live so much in the head, and take some hobbies that give you some physical satisfaction. It's better to, for example, take boxing classes than watch boxing on TV. It's better to learn some pottery and do something with your hands than just staring at the computer screen and doing stupid computer games all day long.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you have to get rid of these mind control programs. People have these ideas about their body, how it should be, like there's this one line too much in the face, and this part should be a bit thinner and this part should be a bit fatter. And we are so much into this fake image, and in the meantime our planet is going to hell. And I think it's going back to understanding what is really important. And what is really important here is not your image or how much money you earn, what kind of wonderful titles you get, but this is about life on this planet. For everybody, is your physical health is more important than your image, and
Yeah, image versus essence. That's up to us to choose what's right for our path. Yeah,
exactly. Get back to what is real and not the fake copies that we've been given. We used to have family. Now we have like soccer clubs, and people used to be healthy. They were doing work on the farms and they had healthy, well-developed bodies, and we were proud of it.
Yes.
Now people are proud of being obese, and they have like the fattest woman, the fattest man in the world competition, as if this was something worthy to give an Olympic medal on.
Yeah, and then blame it on a gene or something. Oh, well, my mom was, or my dad was, or the doctors say I have this, and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, all right.
But it's interesting, because if it was a gene thing, so where did all these genes come out of nowhere? Because they must have been handed down from obese ancestors, and once upon a time, the obese people were the very rare exception, and now they're becoming the norm, and in the end, I think they're gonna be probably the majority.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the old photos we see of people, whether it's our grandparents or their parents or grandparents. I never see anyone that's obese in them. Do you?
No, I mean, the women weren't like Twiggy style, they had hips, and they had womanly curves, and it was nice, and they had babies, and obviously if you have a few babies, you're not going to look like a centerfold model, but they were very beautiful in their own way.
Yes.
They were womanly, they didn't look anorexic, and they weren't obese. The majority of them was not. I mean, there's always been obese people, I guess, but these were the exceptions, not the norm, and now it's become this.
Yeah.
And we need to get away from TV. I think that's my number one prescription.
Yeah.
Because the TV teaches you this false world. It teaches you how to dress, what is important in life. It teaches you how to do your relationships in a very unethical and promiscuous way. It teaches you that you need plastic surgeries and medications that you need to pop in, and it makes you feel ashamed if you ever have any thought of sadness or grief. Teaches you to call up some numbers if your friend laughs a bit too much or too little. Yep. And it teaches you so many other stupid things. Never teaches you the real history and the real things you should be learning. So go out and do something practical. Don't sit in front of that box. Actually, Christy, I think if we all took these TVs and murdered them and kicked them out in front of our house, we'd change this reality around in 2 or 3 months.
That would be fun. Have you ever blown up a TV at the shooting range?
No, Christy.
It's fun. I have. I have, actually. It felt really good. But,
well, you know, in Europe,
I
it's
can't
not
do
that
that.
easy to shoot.
I'm going to miss my nightly news or Survivor or the Dancer or whatever. I don't even know what they're called. American Idol. Oh, man.
I think it's just a transition. If you're used to watching TV and then maybe the first week or two without it, you feel like, oh, now it's Tuesday night, there's my show. But then after that, you fill out these hours with other more meaningful activities.
Yes. I tell you, getting rid of the TV for me was the best thing ever. The best thing for my spiritual growth, my emotional growth, my physical growth. Best thing ever. I highly recommend it. And besides, if there really is something that you feel you have to watch, you know, whether it's the news or History Channel or South Park, whatever, it's on the internet. And, you know, pretty much everyone is online anymore any days. So that might be a good way to wean people off of it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, some things that I really like, I have it on DVD and I can see it if I want to on my laptop. It's not a large screen, but it'll do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at the clock here. I think we...
Okay.
We're going to a break.
Much time, is it?
Oh, there it is. I hear it. All right, here we go. We will be right back. Stay tuned, everyone.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
News and information you can trust. This is American Freedom Radio. Freedom, American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
All right, welcome back. Last segment here tonight, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. And hey, Shakti, what do you think of the new music? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's nice.
All right, we just changed it. I thought it was fun to kind of change it up, put a little Alanis in there, and you know, we still have the nice lovey-dovey, but also some lyrics that are, you know, a little more real. And again, speaking of the disconnection from our emotions, you know, I just kind of wanted to put it out there since we do talk about that, getting real to heal, and, you know, we can't avoid that. So, yeah, I'm loving it. It's exciting. By the way, last Thursday when we got the new music programmed in, I told the listeners that if they write down all of the songs and the artists, that I would send them a t-shirt, and not a single one did. So I'm kind of surprised. I thought at least the listeners on the chat would know what they were, because they were talking about it. Maybe they just don't want a t-shirt. I don't know. Oh, are you there, honey? Okay, I hear you.
There seemed to have been a little bit of cutting out in between, but it's good now.
Okay, all right. So anyways, that giveaway is still going on since nobody sent it to me. So if you want to send me all the music, our 12 clips here during the show, I will still honor my agreement and send you a t-shirt. But moving on, last segment here, and we are learning how to restore our quote-unquote lost connection. So Shakti, you're telling some truth and really getting us to think about these things. So what else can we do? What else do we need to do in our growth?
I think taking some time for meditation and contemplation for ourselves and connecting with our soul is very important. And again, our true spiritual connection has been undermined by bringing all these dogmatic religions in, where we always have a middleman, the priest, who interferes between our connection to God, Goddess, the universe, whatever you want to call this great consciousness. And I think the middleman is generally the problem in our reality. There's always a middleman and an expert. Nothing goes directly between two people. So now you have to have a doctor tell you how to heal your body, and a psychiatrist tells you what's wrong with your mind and what you should be thinking and not thinking. And then giving you toxic medications that shut parts of your brain down and doing a chemical lobotomy so that you will be a well-adjusted robot. And all these experts tell you things, what you should be doing, and people are so afraid of making a decision for themselves and their health, because they're afraid that they might be wrong and then they might make a mistake. And hey, it's your body. It's your mind.
The biggest mistake I ever made in my life? Listening without questioning. Listening and doing what other people told me to do. Those were the biggest mistakes of my life. Every other experiment I've tried, whether it's, healing tetanus infection or my cancer or my lupus or whatever, big deal. Maybe I'll make a mistake and eat more celery than carrots or something. But either way, it's not as bad as listening to the experts and taking all those heavy-duty drugs and getting sicker, right?
Exactly. And the times that were the most disastrous for me were also the times when I listened to other people, even though my inner voice told me that this is wrong. And also there were times that I listened to what the veterinary had to say, which ended up disastrous, and I lost some cats because of that. And now, most of the time, I can heal my cats just fine without a veterinary.
Yeah, look at my dog, who was almost dead a year ago, feeding her with a syringe, like all my other friends that took their dogs to vets. They're all dead. Mine's still here. So, maybe I made a mistake and didn't give her the right herb right away, or even was able to clearly diagnose her, but she's still here. So those really aren't mistakes. They're learning experiences. The mistakes are spending thousands of dollars to go have your dog euthanized.
Exactly.
Anything is better than that in my book. So, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
Now, you brought up meditate, Shakti. A lot of people will tell you, well, I'm too busy, I don't have time, or, oh, that sounds too Eastern, and, my religion said that that's like the devil. How much time do we really need to spend with ourselves in meditation, or call it prayer, or whatever you want, or just quiet time, right? Go sit in a brown chair, put your nose in the corner, whatever. Really, just look at it like time with yourself. And how much of that time with ourselves should we try to ensure that we get each day?
I think it's a good thing to start with 10 minutes in the morning and 10 in the evening.
Okay.
And
all right.
So in the morning, the way that the day starts is how it continues. So if it starts hectic straight away, then it will go on like that through the whole day. So if it's possible, if you're not responsible for small children or animals that need immediate attention. I'm having the problem with my dogs at the moment because they're still puppies, and right now it's like not what I want, it's all what the dog wants, but eventually it's getting a bit better. We're getting there. But so if you're not having responsibilities that absolutely require you to jump into action as soon as you wake up, then take these 10 minutes for yourself. And you might in the beginning think that 10 minutes of meditation is horribly long and terribly boring. But after you do it for a while, you will think that, wow, what happened now? I've been sitting for half an hour and that passed quickly. So, and then you will come to enjoy it and see some benefits, and then nobody needs to tell you how long. Then if you can do it only once a day and in the morning is no time, and you can take like 20 minutes in the evening. Even in the evening, you can start with 10 minutes first. I started with 10 minutes and I thought, gosh, that was terribly boring. And then when you're in a good meditation, an hour passes just like that. And, you know, it doesn't have to be religious. You can just be sitting in contemplation or looking at a picture of your favorite god, goddess. And if you're Christian and you like to do this, you can have a look at a picture of Jesus and just feel like attuned. It's really not so important what is the object of your meditation, but the fact that you actually do the meditation and get the mind in a calm state and in a state where it frees itself from its fetters, so that, you know, higher mind and higher powers can come in.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even need to be external what's coming in, though you can get, you know, divine intervention sometimes, but you get in touch with your soul, you get in touch with your higher self, with parts of you that are wiser, your subconscious mind, if you want to call it that way. And then the chatter of the mind that goes on all day long gets quieted a bit, and that's going to help you also in, you know, hectic situation, or even in situations of danger where other people freak out. If you have learned to take control of your mind, you can stay calm and centered.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I know with the distractions, which I think contribute to our lack of connection, whatever you're doing, call it prayer, meditation, or just sitting in contemplation, turn things off, okay? You don't have to have your cell phone in your bedroom. You don't have to have the TV blaring. You don't have to have the computer going on. Turn stuff off so you can hear yourself, your higher self, or, you know, whoever else out there might be wanting to talk to you. Turn it off, because you're not going to hear that subtle voice, that still small voice, or whatever within when you're being bombarded by all of these electronics and such we've become addicted to.
Yeah, Christie, I can actually hear some of these electromagnetic waves.
Yes.
That opened up a few years ago when I did some particular mantra meditation. And then ever since that time, I've been able to hear certain frequencies. And boy, not only can I hear it, but I can feel the pressure waves sometimes against my skin, especially near the throat chakra.
I totally can. It's the vibroacoustic, the low vibration noises. I mean, even if some of us can't hear it with our ear, our cells hear it, our body hears it, they feel it, and it is affecting us. So yeah, I mean, maybe people can shoot for 10 minutes in the morning and night without any of those going on. That would be cool.
I think a lot of people have a great fear of admitting that there could be something invisible or unseen or unfelt that could be affecting them negatively. And on one hand, everybody's so afraid of, you know, nuclear radiation. And nuclear radiation, as you know, is not visible, and you don't feel it right away when it happens, and you only get sick afterwards.
Absolutely.
And so why is it so difficult then to think that your cell phone could be negatively affecting you?
Yeah.
And I've actually seen some documentaries where they actually did measuring of the skin resistance, and if you just hold that cell phone in your hand for 1 minute, switched on, it's like 30% of your vital energy drops.
Yeah, honey, you know what? I'm getting the cue, and you're so right. Thank you so much for pointing that out, but we are out of time tonight. Shakti, I want to thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom with us here tonight, and thank you all for joining us here tonight. Abundant blessings and love to you all. We will see you tomorrow night with Aline Van Meer and Nathan Martin, continuing our discussion on the Divine Union. Have a wonderful night, and we will see you then. SoulJourneysRadio.com.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Just look at us. Everything is backwards. Everything is upside down. Doctors destroy health. Lawyers destroy justice. Universities destroy knowledge. Governments destroy freedom. The major media destroys information. And religions destroy spirituality. I think there's more to know here.
What you ever hear about in this country are differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the money. Fairly simple thing happens to work. If you know anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank.
You're listening to the future of talk. American Freedom Radio. This is American Freedom Radio.